everyone, Jess here, and today I'm joined with Vinay Sukumar from Rosie AI. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure. So first off, today you've been speaking a lot about Agentic AI. Can you clarify what exactly does that mean and why is it so important for the future of air travel?
Agentic AI, what it enables you right now is to break down a very complex real life scenario and situation and allowing organizations to create specialized agents, right? So you can have, for example, in the context of airlines, you can have an Agentic AI, an agent that is specific to a given function, like it could be a gate agent, it could be a booking agent. So and you can have these agents collaborate, specialize, learn, and engage effectively. And because you're now breaking down into smaller chunks and smaller specializations, you can have scores of these agents collaborating to achieve your goals. And that's the opportunity that's available to us now.
And that has the potential to be such a powerful tool in the aviation industry specifically.
Absolutely, because you can see that there are so many actors that needs to come together in order for a specific travel to take place. You know, right from the time that you book to the time that you're getting your travel documentation ready and trying to get your baggage and have all of the information sorted and understood. And then from curb to all the way to the gate, there's so much that happens and you have just begun your journey. And agents can aid and also automate a lot of these in enabling travelers to understand exactly what they need to do, where they need to go, and what to expect, right? It plays a very important role in setting expectation because now you can proactively push information and be more consultative rather than just having a generic information on the website that one would need to go and look at.
Exactly, and like you were touching on, the journey has a passenger journey has the potential to be very fragmented because of all the different players involved. How do you see AI, and it doesn't just have to be Agentic AI now, maybe perhaps more broadly, transforming this fragmented experience into a seamless one and making it intuitive for the passenger?
Absolutely. So if you look at take any of our travel journeys, getting to this conference, right, starts with getting a booking done, receiving an email, a notification on SMS, and then maybe an app where you're looking at your boarding pass, and then you're going to the website to check something. There is so much information that is spread across. For frequent flyers, it kind of becomes second nature. But if you consider a lot of first-time travelers, it becomes very confusing for them sometimes. And this also leads for them to say, okay, I can't process all of this. Let me call somebody. And then you get to a point you're waiting in queue for 45 minutes, an hour to get to speak to a human, where they're only pointing you back to a link on the website, right? So it's very fragmented and becomes a frustrating experience. And a solution to that, so at Rosie AI, we have our journey orchestration solution driven by our Agentic AI platform. And what it does is it actually combines all of these touch points into a single coherent journey, giving guidance at every moment. So we break down a customer's journey into moments and the events that actually happen in those moments, and then the actions that are possible that you can take. So proactively, as you arrive at the airport or as you're even packing your bags, we are able to push and provide guidance proactively. And that way, people you're managing expectations, and B, you're able to tell them what needs to happen, what they need to do, and step by step. So you're not overloading them with information, and if they need assistance in that point, they can always reach out and have an interactive experience.
Absolutely. And then circling back to something you started talking about, which is personalization and hyper-personalization. It's fairly intuitive why this is so beneficial for the passenger, but what about for the airlines and the airports? What's the real benefit there?
So with airlines, like I said, right, so a frustrated passenger first thing is they're going to try and reach out to the airlines, and then you cannot linearly scale indefinitely with people, right? So if they're reaching out to a contact center or wanting to talk to somebody, you can look at the queues in the support section within the airports, right? And that adds to more frustration. So how do you alleviate that? By providing information. So when you personalize it and when you make it more easily available to users, you're more likely to come up with a happy, loyal customer, right? So now, if you look at even the talks at the event, you see we are shifting from thinking about transactional experiences to an experience-driven economy. We are not selling tickets, we're not selling journeys, we're selling experiences to customer. And these experiences start from the time that you're actually shopping to making a purchase to making the actual travel, and that's what people remember and associate. That directly impacts the airline's brand loyalty and brand value.
Absolutely. And then how do you think, where does the balance lie between automation and human touch in delivering a good journey?
It definitely needs to be balanced, and for example, I'll draw back to the example using what we've implemented with our clients. We have a fully trained domain-specific Agentic AI suite where we have a number of pre-trained agents collaborate to help with customers and their queries. Now, there gets to a point where either the transaction or the interaction needs to be validated and approved for the next step, or it's simply a use case or a scenario that the agent is not trained, specialized enough to support. The solution needs to recognize that and then hand over the conversation to the human. Now, what needs to happen is when you do hand over, you need to provide the context as to what happened thus far, brief the agent, who's going to be talking to the traveler to say that this was a scenario, here's the current sentiment, here's how they're perceiving the problem. And knowing all of that information, you're not going to ask the customer to repeat all of the information. You're going to get confirmation, and you're now able to service them effectively and in a shorter span of time.
Fantastic. And then we've touched a lot on tech-based innovation in the industry. Where do you see the biggest barriers to modernizing travel?
If you ask me, I think probably the biggest myth would be a lot of people approach modernization by thinking that you'd have to overhaul your IT team, overhaul your IT operations, or rip and replace applications, which is either you end up with a generic platform which is not purpose-built for a domain and you're having to spend a lot of time curating it to your use cases, or you end up with building something in-house. So the classic build versus buy debate, right? So you start building something in-house and that goes into a multi-year project where you're not able to deliver value fast enough. In our case, I think what we do is we come up with predefined set of components that are pre-trained and ready to deploy. But at the same time, with any agentic AI, every enterprise is different. So there needs to be a level of customization and configuration that needs to take place. So with the pre-trained components, you can now accelerate time to market by leveraging and working with the IT team. So I would recommend organizations to look at their existing setup and how to activate the most value with the fastest time to market, rather than trying to revamp, because the way the technology is evolving, you might set up on a project today for next 3 years, and then the entire landscape changes, in 6 months.
Absolutely. And speaking about this rapid change, let's end the conversation coming back to the theme of agentic AI. Where do you see this going in the next 3 to 5 years? What will be different?
Well, agentic AI the future is now. We've delivered solutions. We have applications that are processing well over 3 million transactions and requests from users and travelers. And we provide real-time guidance to travelers on their journeys, and we're getting rave reviews. Where I see this going is, I think, just like how organizations have agentic AI, I believe travelers will have their own AI persona. The opportunity here is for airline mobile apps, right? For example, can be leveraged by travelers as their own personal concierge. So now they will expect the app to advise them on impending delays and what to do, anticipate scenarios, anticipate weather situations, and make guidance, right? Just be the trusted advisor. So that's where I see this going.
Fantastic, and it would be exciting to see how everything plays out. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your thoughts on the topic.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having us.